Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About Clutter. I'm your host, Margo Staten, a professional organizer specializing in toxic clutter. And today we're diving into a topic that hits close to home for many of us, the connection between clutter and stress. Did you know that clutter and stress are like toxic besties? They feed off each other, creating a vicious cycle that can leave you feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. If this sounds familiar, don't you worry. By the end of this episode, you'll understand how clutter affects your stress levels and, most importantly, what you can do about it. So let's get started. Clutter and stress are locked in a never-ending dance. So here is how it works. Clutter creates visual chaos in your home, sending signals to your brain that things are out of control. And this leads to feelings of, you feel anxious and frustrated and sometimes even hopeless. And what's worse is that stress makes it harder to find the motivation to deal with clutter. So what happens? Things start piling up even more. So maybe you found yourself staring at a surface in your house, your kitchen counter, the dining room table, the dresser. And it's like, you need to declutter, but you're so overwhelmed and you're so stressed that you just end up adding more and more clutter to an already existing pile. Here's another example. Imagine you've had a horrible day. We'll call it last Tuesday. Your boss was breathing down your neck, the kids were driving you nuts, and your partner, let's say, was not really helping. You come home and you see the kitchen counter covered with piles of unopened bills, keys, sunglasses, and let's say a random screwdriver. How do you feel? If I had to guess, your reaction might be something like this. You either A, clean it up, muttering profanity under your breath the entire time as your eye twitches. I've been there. B, you yell at your partner for leaving things out again. Or C, you take one look at it, sigh, and walk away. Here's the thing. None of these reactions actually lower your stress levels. In fact, they amplify it. Why? Because clutter is a constant reminder of things you haven't done. And that just adds to your mental load. Here's how clutter-related stress shows up in your day-to-day life. It shows up in the form of overwhelm, right? Overwhelm, feeling like you have no control over your environment or over things that are going on in your life is directly related to how high your stress levels are. So for example, walking into a cluttered space feels like stepping into chaos. Instead of feeling calm and safe at your home, you are surrounded by visual reminders of unfinished tasks. For someone with ADHD, this could be even more challenging as the clutter screams for your attention. Now think about it. Best case scenario, you want to walk into your home. This is what we're all trying to achieve. This is why I'm assuming you are listening to this podcast. Your home should be a place of peace and serenity. It should be the place where, yes, maybe you had a stressful day at work, right? There are things that happen to us that we can't necessarily control. But what you can control is your environment, your home. It should reflect peace. It should give you the opportunity to reset your batteries, right, for the next day. But what happens when you have a lot of clutter, it is now amplifying your stress levels. Not only that, you might even feel, before you even step into your home, knowing the condition that it is, you might already elevate your stress levels. And we don't want this. We don't want this. You're going to experience definitely a decrease in stress levels once you achieve, or rather declutter your home. But moving on, stress also shows up in decision fatigue. So clutter creates endless decisions. What to keep? Where to put it? Should I toss it? All of these micro decisions add up, leaving you mentally drained before you've even had your morning coffee. So this is especially true if your bedroom has a lot of clutter. You have boxes in corners or piles of clothing or maybe stuff on your bed that you're sleeping around. You didn't even start your day yet. And the moment you open your eyes, You are bombarded with clutter, with stimulus, with decisions. Like, it is so incredibly overwhelming. And if I were to guess, if you have a lot of clutter in your bedroom, your sleep is suffering. Another way that it shows up in your life is through strained relationships. Clutter can cause tension in your relationships with your kids, with your partner, with your family. Maybe you're the one who's really bothered by the mess while your partner doesn't even notice. And by the way, as just a very, very quick detour and side note, there have been a lot of articles done that show that the way women respond to clutter, right? And we have this like inherent reaction, like it's an eye twitch reaction. Oh my God, we notice it, right? Men actually don't notice clutter. So in your relationship, if you find yourself being the person that's like, let's declutter, let's do stuff, whatever, and your partner's just kind of like, well, it's no big deal, I can wait for later. Statistically, right, and empirical data shows that their brain is just wired in a different way. Another, and I think that this next one is huge, that, clutter kind of impacts your stress levels and vice versa. It shows up in your physical and mental health. Studies have shown that cluttered environments can increase cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and this can lead to poor sleep, weight gain, and even unhealthy eating habits. So for example, a cluttered kitchen often leads to takeout over home cooked meals. Why? Because, well, it's easy access. And two, because chances are if your kitchen is very, very cluttered, you probably don't have a lot of countertop space. You really don't have a place to meal prep. Not only that, your kitchen, because it's cluttered, because it has so many things, it does not inspire creative cooking and spending a lot of time in there. And this leads to quick, easy decisions, which is typically junk food. The bottom line is that clutter isn't just annoying. It's bad for your mental, emotional, and physical health. So before we talk about breaking the clutter cycle, let's define what clutter actually is. Clutter is anything that no longer serves a purpose in your life. It's the jeans you haven't worn in years, the kitchen gadgets collecting dust, or the sentimental items you're too afraid to let go of. But clutter isn't just physical. It can also be mental and emotional. It could be the unprocessed feelings that you've been avoiding, the endless to-do list that keeps you up at night, or even toxic people in your life who drain your energy. At its core, clutter represents delayed decisions and unfulfilled intention. It's the I'll deal with it later pile or the just in case drawer. Over time, these small choices add up, creating a weight that can hold you back. So, of course, you're like, Margo, this is all great. I feel you, girl, but how do I break the cycle? So the good news is that you absolutely can break the clutter stress cycle. I've worked with hundreds of women, and every single one of them has been able to tackle their clutter even when they started out feeling totally stuck. So here is how you start. So you want to first identify the root cause of your clutter, and you might actually have an answer to that already. Maybe you're an impulse shopper. Maybe you've lost a loved one and you've accrued a lot of their things. Maybe you find safety in surrounding yourself by an abundance of items. Maybe you grew up in a home where you were not taught to declutter. You were not taught cleaning habits, which, by the way, oftentimes happens. Or maybe you grew up in a home where clutter was the norm, right? And this is what you took with you into adulthood. Or even the flip side of that. Maybe you grew up with a home, in a home maybe like me, where you didn't have much, right? Maybe you grew up poor. So when you got older and you began to have a paycheck, all of a sudden you gave yourself the freedom to like swipe your credit cards, right? And kind of not say no to things that you want and that you desire. So identify the root cause of your clutter, because this is a mindset shift, right? It will help you commit to the decluttering journey. Next, you want to start small. If you have listened to any of my other podcasts or watched my YouTube videos, you know that I am a huge promoter of something I call bite-sized decluttering. I think it's incredibly imperative that you start small. Too many people take on too much and they find it discouraging, or they fail, or a slew of other things. But Don't try to declutter your entire home in one day. Start with one small area like a drawer or a corner of the room. Small wins build momentum. The next thing that you want to do to combat this is you want to be intentional about what you're bringing into your home. You want to pause and ask yourself, do I really need this item? So one of the reasons that you have accrued all of this clutter is because you bought it, right? I'm not talking about those of you who inherited it, right? But you bought all of those items in your home, which means we need to practice mindfulness. We have to practice intentional shopping. And what that means is as you are on your decluttering journey, you want to preferably limit your shopping habits. And one of the best ways to do that is to never shop without a shopping list. I, to this day, only go out with a shopping list. If I'm even shopping online, I have a shopping list. Why? It's because I'm also human and I can fall for a sale or, randomly looking at something and going, oh my God, this is such a cute throw pillow. Meanwhile, I have 6 throw pillows at home. They are still in good condition. I really don't need more throw pillows. So it's a great habit to shop with a list. You want to always pause. And if you encounter an item that wasn't on the list, pause, think to yourself, do I really need it? One of the things that I find works for myself and works for a lot of the clients that I work with is walking away. And then if you still want the item a day or 2 days later, then fine, go back and get it. But 9 out of 10 times, you're not going to want the item. And you're going to also thank yourself, right, for practicing self-discipline and not getting. The last way that you can break the cycle of stress and clutter is to focus on the benefits. I want you to practice an exercise with me, right? Close your eyes, assuming you're not driving or doing something that requires you to focus on where you're going. But close your eyes and imagine for a moment, right? No limitations, no hesitations, right? Imagine for a moment how amazing it will feel to walk into a clutter-free home. Imagine your kitchen, your clean and tidy kitchen. Imagine how beautiful your kitchen countertop looks, right? And all you maybe have on it is your coffee machine and a cutting board. Imagine your clutter-free dining room. There's no mail on it. Right? It shines, it glows, it looks beautiful, it looks inviting, right? It encourages you and tells you, hey, let's plan, a dinner with the family and invite people over. How beautiful is that? I want you to imagine your living room, the couch with maybe a few throw pillows and cozy throw blankets. Maybe you have a reading nook, right? That is completely clutter-free. Maybe, it has plants and you have space to finally read that favorite book and enjoy a delicious cup of coffee. There are no kids' toys on the floor. There are no dog toys on the floor, right? Everything is just clean and it smells good and the air is just so fresh. Now, maybe walk into your bathroom and hey, you can actually see your bathroom sink. There's nothing on it, right? Maybe a soap dispenser. It's clean. It's beautiful. It caters, it actually calls for you to self-care, right? It calls and invites you to maybe light a candle and, take a wonderful and delicious bubble bath with a nice glass of wine. And when you're done with your bubble bath, imagine walking into your bedroom. The bedroom has very little things in them, right? You have your bed, which is made up, right? It looks clean. It looks tidy. Your dresser has nothing on it. Your nightstand maybe has a glass of water and that is it. Your bed is so inviting. It calls for you and invites you to have the best sleep of your life. My hope is that by imagining this, you're already feeling your stress levels going down. You're already feeling more calm, right? And you're feeling like your home is a space that you can breathe in. This is possible for you. Creating a home, yes, while it does take hard work and effort, right, and time, but creating a home, right, that's peaceful, that's inviting, will help decrease your stress levels of everyday life. So clutter and stress don't have to control you. By taking small, intentional steps, you can create a home that feels calm, inviting, and most importantly, manageable. If you're ready to break free from clutter and reclaim your peace of mind, grab my free Ultimate Mom's Decluttering Guide. I walk you through what to declutter in every room of your home. The link to this is in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, good luck on your decluttering journey, and remember to be good to yourself.